I mean, we're good.
Are we good?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, as I said, manager's budget designed to be something in line with what the taxpayers can pay and the directions, direct and indirect, received by the, well, generated by the individual selectmen. Been dealing with the board long enough, pretty much know what's necessary. So, the schedule, item number 4, that's today. Obviously, we were hoping to do departments 110 to 113 last Thursday when the weather intervened. And there's no reason not to go through this pretty quickly. There's very few contentious areas. And if we've still got time in hand, I'd be happy to run on some of the smaller budget items until 7 o'clock. And on Thursday, we have some of the bigger budgets. Planning, wastewater, public works, transfer station, which would be the same, EMS, and possibly the police department. February 17th, Monday is a holiday, and the nice thing is this means the selectmen end up only having 2 meetings a week. Okay, what you say. And then the last big budget, as I said, Dwayne is on vacation, so February 20th will be Parks and Rec plus some others. Maybe we could finish on the 24th, certainly the 27th, and then we get into looking at the overall picture. There will be adjustments right up to the end of the process. And again, as you look through and look at workers' comp, you know we're putting all that in the municipal insurance line as we did last year. So looking at the first budget, which is administration, you will notice that my salary is shown as 91, but you will also notice further down that I take no benefits, don't travel out of town, no mileage, no conferences. So what I did is I put a $75,000 salary, which as you look back at 19, you see it's 84,000 there. So I'm hoping that we might be able to get someone for 75,000, but of course on top of that is a lot of health insurance, like another $27,000. Plus the fact that many people go to conventions and things. I do not wish to. So for the rest of that front page, 4007 dental, obviously that could easily be taken by whoever the new town manager is. And the other item is that the life insurance. All that insurance would increase from what was budgeted last year, 21,000, would increase to 50,000, all related to wages and benefits of whoever my successor is. With regard to next page, staff expenses, dues and fees, last year, last year 900 was budgeted, 60 was paid out. As I said, I don't do dues, I don't do fees, I don't belong to things. So I put back the 900 that was there originally. You'll notice also travel and meetings, almost used none of it. But I have to put back $1,000 for whoever my successor is. Same with trainings and education. And retirement, didn't take retirement. So that could be a big jump. With regard to my
John, thank you
what's that?
for the way that you treated your budget. I want to make sure to say.
You're welcome. I don't like. Yes.
It might be cheaper if you stay.
You think?
I'll second that.
Wear and tear. Oh, I forgot to mention. You will notice that the administrative assistant got a better than 2% raise, which she justly deserves. And that's the only change. As I said, if you look back at the very total management budget, 2021 was 192,000 versus 197 back in 2019. So I don't have a problem with that budget.
Can I
So,
ask a question,
yes.
please? I think in years past, and maybe I'm wrong, but when we did this, we always had a column on the right side
Mhm.
that said the percentage of increase in that line.
Yeah, I could get that wrong.
No, it just,
Okay.
if you can, I mean, it would be nice to have,
Well,
instead of,
no, I agree, but we could have run it, but now that we've got all these, unfortunately, if we run it again, we're gonna have to run it in a single page and take everything apart and start over. It took a whole day to put the books together.
If you could just run it one time and then tell us, so we don't have to do the math.
Oh, yeah,
We'll just write it down.
Okay.
And on this sheet at the very front, what is that percentage?
That is the overall.
Uh, For administration?
Yes,
Okay, oh, I thought that's what you were talking about.
No.
You were talking about every individual.
I'm just saying on the town manager's salary, what that increase means, if there's an increase or if there's a decrease in that particular line.
Okay.
If anybody else doesn't want it, that's fine. I mean, that's okay with me.
We can run. Okay.
Can you do just, well, you have to run all the sheets, so
Anyway,
don't worry about it.
we could probably do
Don't
something.
worry about it. It's a waste of a tree.
No, what you're saying is he can run them, but just tell us, and we can write it down so
I could do
we
that.
can print again.
Yeah, that
Or
would be
anybody
good.
could ask me, well, yeah, on the big stuff.
Doesn't match this.
But, you know, last year, stuff kept getting run again and again and again, and it was murder for people to put the books back together again. And then, as I said, it took a whole day.
I've got all the papers at home, and I can't figure out what's the real ones.
Okay. Next is, yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. If we go back to that whole table in the front, it says 2019 and 2020, administration, 172,056.
Mhm.
Why does that not match the 2019 budget or actual on page 3 of administration?
It does on the 2020 budget. We're doing 2021, are we not?
I'm sorry. Okay, I skipped right over 2020, went from 2019 to 21. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm reading it correctly.
Okay, airport is next, Department 101. First off, all the employees have no benefits, that's a big thing. And I'm okay with pretty much everything. I do have to have further discussion with the airport manager about the wages, and that's the only thing that could change. So he's at a different meeting tonight, so couldn't get him here.
What do you mean on the wages?
Up here, request for a certain number that I did not put in. I
Okay.
have to go a little back.
He's requesting a certain
He's
number,
more than I put in.
more than you put in. Okay,
So I gotta go back and forth a little bit.
okay, all right, I understand.
As for the rest of, electricity on line 2002 is the same as last year. Heating oil, even though usage is higher, as I told you, we got the good rate of $2 a gallon. So $4,100 is what it would cost. They dropping a line down on the wood pellets. They're only going to take one ton instead of almost 3 tons. So that's a reduction from 900 to 380. So on the front page, you see the total utilities line is pretty much the same as last year because of the lower oil price and down the rest of the chips. For the rest of it on the way down, recording fees, licensing, it's up from 911 to 935, which isn't significant. Dropping down, you would see workers' comp, which is 4002. That's obviously in the municipal insurance, the total is in the back of the book. Going down, let's see, little reduction in the diesel from 1375 down to 1,000. That's line 5006. Farm supplies unchanged at 2,500. Safety equipment unchanged at 400. Small reduction in inspection costs down from 5450 to 5075. Next page over is 6001, which is buildings. Slight increase from $3,000 to $4,000. There are some repairs that are needed, including the doors. And considering how many buildings there are, that's not a terribly dramatic increase. Dropping down on equipment 6002, the increase from $4,000 to $4,400 is tires for the Kubota. That's the utility. So, okay on that. small increase on 6003 grounds, repairs for the cracks. We've got a big project coming, and some grants attached to it. Some of it is repairing the apron, if you will. That's just sealing it, and at a certain point we get serious about it, and the FAA is aware of it, and then we got to do runway stuff, and so on. Going down to 7010, which is FICA Medicare, there is a small increase. 4306 is this current year, 4590 is this subsequent year, and as you know, it's all determined on what the wages are. So once the wages are set, you get FICA and Medicare follow. Other expenses at the bottom of the page.
John, quick question. 2020 year-to-date, what period does that cover?
Until June, this one.
June to June. June 30th to,
Year-to-date. July.
Year-to-date.
Year-to-date on the expenditure.
No,
You mean as of February?
Yeah, year-to-date.
That's
as
from
in-
now.
I thought you were talking about, but
yeah, what period does that 2020 year-to-date cover?
that's,
It runs to June
July
30th.
1st to
runs
now.
to June 30th.
Starts July 1.
No, the figures in here.
The figures in here are not a full year, they're a partial year, right?
Yeah, up
Okay.
to the run date, which is 204.
Oh, okay. Through January then.
Yeah. So then, if we look at the last page of the airport, we're looking at, in total, requested budget of 95,440 versus 90,769. As I said, I still have to work out the final numbers for the payroll. So,
But there's going to be a huge revenue increase from what we've been discussing.
revenue as in what?
Rentals, our rental fees are going to jump substantially. So
Yeah,
that number's going to be.
We'll hit
offset.
all the revenues later, but I'm just looking at
You're right. No, right.
all that stuff.
Right.
So next page is animal control, Department 102. Very little change. In fact, I knocked $3,000 out of the contracted line. We budgeted $10,000 for this current year and only spent $2,000, so I figured it was safe to knock $3,000 out. So when we look at the totals, the rest, the other items are unchanged. So instead of 17,367, we're budgeting 14,927 going forward.
And we pay as we use that, correct?
Yeah.
That's what I.
It was a little oddly put together for some, it looked like we were, paying, and then suddenly we only bill intermittently.
Right.
So I hope I'm not going to be surprised. Okay. Assessing, which is Department 103. Let's see what we got. Very small increase in the trio license, and that line 3 would be 3007. And the overall services are up. Just that amount, because we had to go in some map revisions. The guys at $1,600, sorry, overlooked that 3006. We've had them going around and making adjustments. So those two are what bring our total budget up from 67,780. Oops. I put the wrong glasses again. That's the same. Yeah, my services are up in total up to this. So, so far, pretty much all three of us, that service thing, which is 200 $300. Anyway, that's that one. Should wear the other glasses.
That's.
So, next we go on to Department 104, which is boards and dues. Slight increase in the fee for the recording secretary. Her wages have been fixed for 4 years without a change. So, No.
she just been raised last year? I thought we did.
No, she didn't have them for 3 years.
I thought we gave Jackie one last year.
No, she, it was
Yeah, she
mentioned of
gave
it,
me,
but it didn't.
she gave me a sheet of paper to explain how much she had. Anyway, she'd now be $19 an hour, which is below what she says is below what she gets elsewhere. Which, in one way, is good, right? Boards and committees, so we're looking at increasing because of that, and because there are some boards meeting more frequently. Personnel costs have risen by $1,500, which basically is the full increase in that budget. So ORC and planning meeting a lot more.
Bringing her up to $19 an hour, what percentage is that?
Let's see. She had last had an increase 5 years ago. She was
I don't
17.
disagree with that one. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
She was being paid $17 an hour. Okay.
I think so.
Well,
I'm just wondering what the percentage is.
I'll give that a second. 11%.
11%?
But you've got to divide that over 5 years, Judy. We give people two every year, so it's,
She didn't get a raise for long, that's.
I'm sorry, but I think if you go back, because I voted against it. I
It's
think
an
if you-
astronomical increase.
You go back,
Somebody that
you're gonna find out that
reports
she was given an increase maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, she says 15. Okay, well,
We can argue about that later.
so,
Yes, Judy?
Well, I'm just wondering if it's, what I remember is that she took on additional minutes, additional meetings. So,
Yeah, historic
That-
preservation was additional.
yeah, and that, I wonder if that's,
but the rate from 17 to 19, that's the 3%, but according to what Jackie gave me, it was, she had an increase in 5 years, which I can't say yea or nay on that.
You'll repay somebody that does the recording of minutes more than somebody that you will pay that has a commercial driver's license, that has
Okay, I got it.
lives at hand.
That's kind of like,
Well, it's in there, apples and apples. It's in there for now, that doesn't mean it's gonna stay in there. Let's go on.
Okay, so then.
John, why don't these add up?
I'm sorry?
I'm on boards and committees,
Yes.
and this, if you add this column up, it comes to much more than 4,460.
Well, there's subtotals in
Personal,
there, like
yeah,
personnel,
personal.
subtotal.
You're adding the 40/50, it's a total of everything that's above it.
Oh, I see it, okay.
Yeah, I know, it's a little confusing.
Yep.
Okay.
Subtotal.
Yep. So capital improvement, that was just something we put in there, that's where it's alphabetically and not when we're discussing operating budgets, I just left it in there so we don't lose track of it. Okay, so having said that, going on to 105, which is celebration. As you can see, that's unchanged. That would be Department 105. Any questions? Veterans Graves, 4th of July, fireworks, and Christmas. Okay, if that's okay, we move on to cemetery operations. That's Department 514. As I said, these are alphabetical now, so the departments don't need to run sequentially. The big change is that the people who work on the cemetery are employed by the public works, and the cost of their health insurance was not allocated to the hours they put in at the cemetery, and that basically is what the change is. And the rest of it is pretty much the same. Workers' comp in this particular case is broken out because it's funded from the reserve account, so it's designated monies. Does not have to be raised by taxation. Okay. You know, some modest increases on the way through. And those totals at the end are totally out of sequence. They're the current state of all the expenses, and of course without the offsetting revenue, this looks big. And anyway, it's one of these things that we really figured how we presented the different departments. So I said, what's that doing there? You can't release it because we went with alphabetically. It's easier for people to see. You know, follow through. So Judy?
Do we know what the total is in the account?
Oh, that's that reserve account, yeah.
Reserve account?
It's a seriously high number, it's 2 or 3 million. I don't have that piece with me.
Does the wages include a 2% increase?
Yes,
Yeah.
all wages are, and as I said, the union contracts haven't been settled yet, so that number could change, but for now, this is where we are.
Okay.
And we run the whole darn thing when we can. Okay. So going forward with car, that's, what's in there is a 2% increase, almost nothing else has changed except the number of hours because we've got that extra election. And of course, we've got that, I call it multiple choice, or ranked choice. But they just did their ranked choice in Ireland, came out a mess. 7, 8 counts. Get the results. Anyway, so on the personnel, what you see there is, as I said, the allocation of the hours and the health insurance. And again, it does not hit the taxpayer, the general fund. Any questions on that? I'm sorry, I'm jumping back and forth. On this one, I distracted myself. On this one, it's the extra hours for the elections. Very little change in the supplies. Office supplies the same at 1,400. Books and publications the same at 300. Postage the same at 1210. Actually, we don't mail an awful lot anymore. It's mostly email and so on. So that's nothing else I can see there. No, that's it.
And the insurance increase, which is nothing we can do about.
No. And as I said, the workers' comp is still off to the side. But the thing about this is between union negotiations and with changing personnel, I mean, you could be $20,000, $30,000 different in the benefits they take, and that's kind of hard to plan. So we plan for what we think might happen, and then we can be surprised. Code enforcement. What's in there is the 2% wage increase. Very little change on the way through the stipend in lieu of health insurance and life insurance. So that line is up. I also put in, as you know, Bruce works 20 hours a week, ridiculously busy. So I put an extra 2 hours in there. Not sure he wants the 2 hours, but I figured I'd put it in there because he's frantically rushing around. So that's what the change is there, another 4,000. Okay, so that's that one. Wiscasset Public Library. we get the standard request, and it's the same as last year.
And we received a request
We
from,
did receive it.
for everything, even the food pantry, healthy kids, we received.
Yeah, Kathy told me we have now,
Okay,
because we don't do anything about it,
all right.
so. Oh, okay, that line is basically the same as last year. And then, contingency, Department 109. I know the board likes to keep it at 20,000, but I exercise my discretion subject to being outvoted. I put in 30 because when things start going squirrely, $10,000 is nothing. So I put in 30, it's something the board can, and the advisory committee can decide on, or set it up front. Okay?
What's the matter, Jeff?
You've had to listen to me for years, Judy, so.
Okay. Contractual services, so that's big numbers. The 1110, the big number there is the audit financial services. We budgeted 21.5 last year, which if you look back to 19 is $1,000 more. We have three bids in, one for 19,000 and two for 13,000. So that number is higher than it would be. There's no way it would be more than 19,000. So just so you know, we're likely to go for the 13,000. I'm putting together a spreadsheet, and the board will make a decision.
That's for the auditor?
Yes.
Does the town contract out for a new auditor every year?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were here last time. We opened bids.
I didn't remember.
On the flex cards, is there any increase in that because of the negotiations? Was there anything put in there, or is that gonna change once the union, we negotiate with the union?
Don't know.
Okay. That's an uncertainty at this point.
Well, it hasn't changed. I don't think there's anything in the contracts that relate to that, but maybe.
Okay. I wasn't sure, I didn't remember.
John, do we have something coming as far as legal fees go? Or could that number be lowered a little?
Well, we have the Bryant's suing us again.
That's the latest.
That's right. No, I just am encouraged to see how that number has dropped. So I didn't know.
I hate to take anything out of it only because of the fact that that lawsuit.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just was.
When you say dropped, I'm thinking other shoe.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. It's just encouraging for us. So that's a great number.
Unfortunately, I've got myself or the town into situations where we do have to contact the attorney. I mean, I won't sit on speed dial, but
They used to be.
well, I really dislike spending money on attorneys. You can't get away with it. So on the contracted services, there's the assessor. Had barely changed since last year. 24.5 was last year, 25.2 is this year. Legal specialty, I don't even know what that was, so I didn't put it in. Main Yankee, as you know, always hanging over our head is renegotiated the Main Yankee matter. So we put in 35,000 last year. Apparently, and I wasn't around for this, the contract expires in 2022, and as the attorney says, the estimated price to start negotiations is 35,000. So if we go beyond just starting, we'll be spending more than 35,000. So that's something I have to contact the attorneys.
We only put 2,000 in that account last year?
Put 35,000.
No, 35,000 last year. The previous year we only put 2,000. Legal Main Yankee.
That's because we didn't think on the horizon.
So we'll have 72,000 in there.
Oh, okay, yes,
We
okay,
got it.
no,
It's the columns. I know the format looks the same, but the columns sometimes or something. Okay. And then legal labor has been pretty nasty. We budgeted 20, we've already spent 33,000. We haven't settled our contract yet, so that'll be more. Don't have a number yet. Data processing, same as last year, 7,000. Internet, 5,000. We're working, and we don't have numbers, but we're working on increasing the security. We don't have proper cameras. We don't have proper entry for the doors, secure areas, and so I've had someone whose name I forget look at all our buildings, look at all the entries, and give us an idea how it would take to provide additional security, some cameras, nothing complicated, but it would be always to make sure we're covered.
Since the bathroom incident, I wouldn't think anything of it, but that was horrible, so.
Yeah, exactly. So, internet, engineering consultants, it'll show up in public works, but we've culvert down Old Ferry Road that is a serious mess, and not in the budget yet. But I know that Crooker has been asked to look it over and give us an estimate, and then we'll have to go out to bid and so on, because it could be quite big numbers. So anyway, that's the consultant line, unchanged from last year, and as you can see, been spending so far this year. Emergency management unchanged. Mason Station, we're not sure how far we have to chase, but we are working on cleaning up the ash ponds. And once we've got those done, there's 30 odd acres we can use, we can develop, and also generate some property tax. And I'd like to see 2 jobs to go along with it. Okay. So that's contractual services. Debt service, if we look at 112, paying the interest on the TAN, as you can see, if you read across, we budgeted $15,000 for the last 2 years. Year to date, we've spent only $1,800, but we never quite know, so prudent to leave the same number in there. And then 8004, bond for school withdrawal, we are paying $228,235 per year until 2026. So basically those numbers are the same as last year. Okay. Elections, you see some, and that's 1.3. Next page, it's mostly part-timers, and as you know, the minimum wage went up to $12 an hour, so that's reflected in many of our part-timers, including the rec center, because some of those were below minimum wage. So let's see, we're looking at, there's a jump in the part-time personnel, again, because of the extra elections. And the overtime town clerk, as I said, has the extra election, so budgeted about $600 in overtime. So that's the biggest part of it. Printing, budgeted $8,000. Let's see, advertising, still 1,000. Equipment rental, a little bit more, because we used to have 2 ballot machines, now we have to have 2 because there's so much extra going on with the extra printing. Office supplies, and a 5001, 500 last year, 500 this year. Books and publications, 250 last year, 250 this year. Postage, we've spent very little, as you can see. We budgeted in 19, we budgeted 620, we budgeted 600. Year to date, we've only spent less than $11, so.
So could we cut that down to maybe 300?
Yep. Can do that.
My have it there if we don't need it, if we're not gonna be using it.
So, supplies and equipment, 1850, unchanged from last year. Travel and meetings, unchanged at 200. Trainings, education, 300 also. Meals, because of the extra elections, went up from 400 to 500, which is small.
Is there a reason why they're not using the meetings and travel and education? Because we haven't spent anything in February. Is there anything planned?
Some of it's already been done. I mean, they've already taken the training.
Or we just haven't been billed for it?
No.
We're year to date, it's saying we spent nothing. Oh, no, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's,
$55. Travel meal, 0. 55.
That's the year before.
yeah.
Yeah, all right, so this year we've spent nothing.
Correct. We budgeted 300 this year, didn't spend any.
I'm just thinking that, you know,
No, this budget was prepared by the town clerk, and she's comfortable with that number.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, there is.
I'm just questioning.
Yeah.
Judy?
Oh, I was just gonna say, if we get new people in,
Yeah.
haven't had
They
experience,
would want to take the course.
they would
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah, they have been, Ellen has taken a course or two, Molly has taken the course. I'm not sure Linda did this year, but yeah, they do take it when it comes up, or something new and different.
Okay.
So, with regard, okay, that thing is down to EMS, I've scheduled, as you look at your agenda, I've scheduled that for, the 13th. So, skip through that, and I have gone through that in extensive detail, and I think to get any more out of that budget would require the powers of selectmen and the budget committee.
John, is there a reason why the part-time line is 0 for your?
Yeah, it's elsewhere. It's under per diems.
Perfect.
It's all right. Okay, so that's fire. Let's skip that. I'm going to skip down, we've got an agreement to general assistance, which would be 117. I skip it. We have questions about when we're going to fill
Oh,
the
yes.
treasurer position.
That's right,
So
okay.
for general assistance, it's good. We budgeted 20,000 last year. We spent 12,000. I'm looking at the other end of the totals. We spent 12,277, and request for this year is up at almost $1,500. And there has been more calls, more requests, but our general assistance expert figures for 21,496 would do it. I hope it does. But we're past the halfway mark. We're past. We're over most of the winter fuel and food and so on. But the fuel, there's a fund that takes care of that. So that, but we've had, I've seen them come in, and I know what they're asking for. So I think we're over the hump on that. So that's all I would suggest there. I'm trying to clean out the small ones here that are easy. Municipal insurance, if we jump down to 119. Because Ted Smolin does most of the municipal buildings, people have specific questions about different projects that are in the background here. What's that? What are you laughing at? Oh,
I just said, whoa.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the cost of doing business, and I've I've got somebody from Maine Municipal coming along and looking at our loss record, and some of it is just stuff cycles through, and there's a series of smallish accidents. Sometimes there's one big one that throws everything out of whack, and a lot depends how we compare to other towns of similar size, and our experience is it's a little worse than average. Now, that changes over a period, it's a rolling average, but right now we're just forced to pay what they bill us, unless we want to go through we insure pretty much through Maine Municipal. And it's a pool, and sometimes we get a refund, other times we don't. So that's municipal insurance. Parks and Rec, still working on that budget. Dwayne is on vacation right now, and he'll be back on Sunday. So we've got him scheduled for the February 20th. So if we move along to 122, planning and development, the board put $28,700 into that last year, and I believe the intent was to use a member of the Lincoln County Regional Planning Commission to we've retained that person on an hourly rate. There wasn't a person to retain, so I didn't spend money. Didn't have time to go chasing around getting the bid process. For planning, if the board wants to leave that in there and add to it for next year, that's.
Well, I think we were talking about having an economic development, which is what we need in this town, so that we can get some businesses in here, and that would be the perfect spot to put it.
Okay.
I don't know what we get for $28,000. I think Lincoln County, we're trying to rely on Lincoln County, it's not working out. So I think what we need to do is hire one on our own. If it has to be part-time for the first year, then we can do part-time. Maybe between the economic developer and the code enforcement, we can finally get on the right track somehow. I don't know. It's just my thoughts on the matter.
Well, I can certainly put a number in. If
The problem with hiring someone part-time is, one, you're gonna be limited to who you might be able to get part-time. Most of the time, planners and economic developer people are looking for full-time. And personally, I would like the board to consider hiring a full-time town planner or economic development / person at the going rate of a town our size.
I agree with you, but the only problem is the town is down the planner or whatever you want to call it, at least I know of 2 or 3 times. A full time.
Right.
I don't know if they would be willing to go with a full time. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could try it. We could try it because I really think it's what we need, especially if they're going to do developing up on 27. Once we get the brownfield down, getting that taken care of, we are going to need somebody to help us develop our property here in town. Yes, Ben?
I know that a number of the boards and committees are clamoring to have a planner as well. So regardless of what you call it, I really think we should look at how many hours they're going to devote to each of these tasks before, deciding on hiring one, because, well, when Ben was here, he spent an awful lot of time sitting in on those boards and committees. It was practically a full-time job in and of itself. So
I don't know if I would want to restrict the person to that point. I don't know. If we're going to have an economic developer / planner, put it all in one and do it that way. I don't know, but I don't want to say you work 20 hours as a planner.
no, but
40,
I do
20
think
hours
we
as
ought to at
economic
least take a
development.
look at what we would expect that person to do with our boards and committees.
And I think that is also part of the job description and the town manager at that point to express our views as what we want. And anybody in the interview process would be able to express the views of what the town wants. The biggest hurdle we have to get through is to get it passed through the town, is what we're gonna have to.
I'd like to go back to my proposal last year. You call it community development person, and they're both an economic development and a planner. To get a planner or economic development person on a half-time, you're lucky. The only way you're gonna do that is get a retired person. You know, someone's gonna make a living is gonna be part-time. This way, you've got one person, and the planner does not require in this town a full-time job. But economic development, that together, got a full-time job. There's 28,700 for last year we didn't spend. Does that carry over?
We can.
And 9,000 of that comes out of the TIF plan. So if we could get somewhere like 50,000, you might be able to hire someone,
Plus benefits.
plus benefits. But this is only salary in here, not
And
benefits.
Kim hasn't spent the comprehensive plan, $20,000.
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
In other words, she's holding on to it.
Oh, yes, okay.
I mean, that's
I'll keep some numbers in there.
put some numbers in, that's my viewpoint. I think that's what we have to do, put it before the town. Let's see, you're gonna have to sell it. It's gonna have to be sold to the taxpayers because, like I said, I know for a fact that they've downed it 3 times. And, there's people in town that don't feel we need one. Personally, I feel we do. We are at the point where if we do not get any economic development in here, we are gonna have to cut services, which we don't, the people down in town don't want us to do. And, or the taxes are gonna have to go up, one or the other. And I hate raising the taxes.
Why do you think hiring an economic developer is going to be beneficial to the town? We have spent a lot of money on economic developers, and we have very little to show for it.
I disagree with that. I think we do have things to show for. There's been development out on Route 1. There has been some development on 27. It's, our boards and committees need help desperately. You've got somebody who comes in here and wants to start a business, they don't know where to go.
Well, it's one thing to maybe have someone help with the planning process within the town. We're talking 2 different things here.
Well, I think they need to be combined.
And, okay, but I don't see that the town's experience with economic developers in the past has been all that successful.
Well, you and I will disagree on that, but my viewpoint, and I strongly believe it, if we do not do something pretty soon, the people in this town are not gonna be able to afford their homes, they're not gonna be able to afford their taxes. They're gonna have to continue. We raised them, 14% not too long ago? We could have done 22%, but we ended up taking money out to bring it down to 14.
To be fair, a lot of that was the $240,000 we had to start paying for the school loan.
Yes, it was, but it's a debt the town has and they have to pay it.
Well-
And they were told that before we even come out of our issue 12, that their taxes were gonna go up.
Not to mention how much it costs us to run the school district alone. So in addition to that $2 million to withdraw, our substates were radically subsidized by the towns in the north, and we ignored that fact and voted to withdraw, and now we're paying more.
And
Okay, but the
we told the
This was a
school
choice
to gain
that
$1
the town
million,
made.
which we haven't. If you look at our school budget, it really hasn't gone down the way it was supposed to go down. It's almost staying the same, if you really want to look at it. And yes, we have that debt.
But as you know, the schools do have a lot in their fund balance.
Yes, they do, but that's out of our control.
Well, they're still part of the community.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you on that, because when I look at my tax bill and see that 61% of my taxes go to the school, it kind of upsets me too. But that's something we have to live with, I guess, at this point. Unless the school department decides to make some changes in restructuring the school system to, no matter what they were thinking of doing. Yes, sir.
Many town planners, especially in towns this size, have experience in both town planning and economic development. They wear two hats. And that person should be able to pay for themselves by the amount of work that, or businesses that may come in, or grants that they go after. This town needs a town planner just for the process of submitting plans and going through the process, because you're right, a developer or a business person can come in here and wants to know the process, wants to know how to go about doing it, and we don't have all the answers all the time.
Right, and we need somebody here that can do grants. We need somebody
Yeah.
that can do a grant, and which we do not have. We don't have anyone here that can do grants. Yes, Judy?
But we had one or two
Yes, we
or
did.
three. The last three, we called them planners, but the economic development was a big part of what they did. And to answer Ben's question, we don't know what we've missed, because we do know when we had those three people in position that we were hearing businesses that came to town looking were so impressed in how helpful it was. We are hearing now some that, oh, it's hard, no, we're not going. So it's hard to compare with and without, because we don't know what businesses have gone somewhere else. And when you try to keep the company down on, what's it called? Yes. When your planner was helpful in that. That was a biggie. That was a real biggie. So there is one example, and there are others, and again, I stress it. There are businesses that have heard or have come and turned away because, you know.
I agree with you on that, because I think in the last maybe year, I could think maybe 3 or 4 businesses that wanted to come into town. And all of a sudden, you read it in the paper, so-and-so is coming to town, da-da-da-da-da. And then all of a sudden, where are they?
Well,
They're not here. Now, what is the problem? I don't know. But I think we need to find out what the problem is and cure it. Like I said, or we're going to be in deep trouble in less than a few years.
And the person, that if we can get a person, will also help with the ordinances, which a lot of them are just disasters. They're outdated, they need to be rewritten, and the planning board is always asking for help with ordinances and whatever else, so we need this person.
It's going to be a
Like I said, I can understand a planner to help with that end, but I just think an economic developer is just
Well,
throwing
we'll
good
have
money.
it, it'll be a combination of both, is the way I look at it.
I think it's going to be how you sell it to the taxpayers. That's what it is. If you put a
They seem
planner
to
out
think
there,
that somebody
they're
else is
going to
going
turn
to
it
volunteer
down.
to do the job.
They're going to turn it down. They've done it 3 times. And again, I say, it's how you're going to present it to the taxpayers. And say, we want this person to be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. Combined job. Because we're definitely not getting any help from Lincoln County. Yes, Kim?
This is why I do think that it's important that we know what we're expecting of that employee, whatever you call them. Because if the person is mostly going to be planning work, is it fair to the voter to call them something else just because you are hoping to pull one over on them to get the thing that you believe?
Over on them. That's not what I'm
But in
saying.
a way, if the person is going to do planning work, they're a planner. Calling them something else just so that you can get it passed seems a little devious.
Well, it's not, to me, it's not devious. It's not
If you do
devious.
2 jobs, it's not devious.
If they are doing 2 jobs, and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, you know, let's be honest about what they're going to do, and let's look at it. how much time does the planning department need from them? How much time does the code enforcement person
We
need
need to
from
get the
them?
money first and
That's
then
the
worry
issue,
about what
is
we're
getting
gonna
the
do for
money.
the job
We need to get it
description.
passed.
And I don't know if tonight's the night to set
No.
this job description.
No,
And if we're the right
it's,
people to
it's
do it.
not, it's not.
It's getting the money into the budget.
Yep.
And that's where we have to decide, either tonight or within the next couple of weeks, to put the money in or to leave it out.
So, but
I-
20,000 of this was for the comp plan?
No,
No,
Your comp plan has nothing to
No, no, that's a
Um,
separate line.
That's a separate line, okay, I thought for a minute that's what
Use
you
it.
meant when you said that
Use it.
before.
Then use it.
Will you be our moderator?
So is this money still here?
yes,
Okay, so when we vote various years to spend unexpended monies from the budget, that's not monies like this?
you're
Yes.
losing me.
There are years, most of them, when we vote to put unexpended monies to reduce taxes. I guess I'm wrong, but I always thought it was monies in the budget that we all voted for that didn't get spent.
That's correct.
So
Not
this,
necessarily.
so this item,
Designated.
We also, if we did not want this money to go into the fund balance, we would designate that to stay in the planning.
We could do that, but she's not wrong with what she's saying.
No, she's not,
Okay.
she's not.
because
But we
there was
can't
something
designate-
earlier.
I think we're really getting ahead of ourselves. With just what we did tonight, it's an increase of $80,000. We've got some budgets that are running some real big deficits. And we're talking about putting in new positions when we really haven't finalized the present budget, let alone going forward. I think we're really getting ahead of ourselves.
Excuse me, we can come back to this discussion at another time.
Oh, I'm sure we will, but I think we need to get to the
Yes,
bottom line.
I just wanted to add that I think that the way that it's deceiving, the way that the planner has been looked at over the last 3 planners, because I do think, even though it was called a planner, I think that they were doing 50% at least of economic development. And like Judy said, how do you know how much money we've lost already from not having that person in that position the time that we haven't had someone?
Well, the last planners we had, they didn't come up with any grant money.
Yes, they did.
He did, he came
Yes,
up with $20,000.
Well, we've had
Well,
other.
No, I know, I'm talking about the
This year,
last
this
one.
year,
I'm
this year,
sure,
she
I'm
got
just talking
lots of
about the
money.
last one.
Yeah.
But I mean, he put in grants, not necessarily did we get them, but he put in grants. I mean, that's something that it's not
If
being
we
done
didn't
now.
have a planner when Mullicky was
Oh,
coming in, we would never have gotten them. And there are a number of businesses, one in particular that I can think of, and you know who I'm talking about, that is very interested in this town. If we don't have a town planner to help them through that process, we're not gonna get them.
I just heard the other night, someone went to the plan commission and they got turned down because their paperwork wasn't complete.
Right.
So it's
And,
no one-
and they
don't want
need
them
people
through.
to work with them. I mean, the
Right.
past planners that we've had have worked with these committees, with Historic Commission, with the planning department. The planning department, they do the best they can, but a lot of them have other jobs. Some of them are retired that work part-time. I mean, we need someone that can guide them, that can direct, a face that can tell people that are coming, that want to come to this town and bring a business, what is expected of them, not to hand them a piece of paper and say, here, this is what you need to do. They're overwhelmed because it's just not a good way. It's
Okay,
not-
this can,
Yeah.
let's go on to the budget. This is something that we can discuss at another night. But I think we really need to sit and privately and think about it.
Could I just add a few facts?
Sure.
Not just, I mean, grants are important. I think that they'd be selling point if somebody were actively seeking grants. And I know that Dennis is down tomorrow, he'll be talking to Mary Ellen about the grant for an ambulance. Those are expensive, very expensive. And the other is the county apparently, and I haven't seen the detail, but might have caught it in the papers, about a community development officer. They're putting one on staff. So somewhere in the middle there, we might find some of the things we can use, whatever we call them. That's all I want to add.
Continue.
Okay, so heading past planning, police and school resource officer, I'll wait till the chief can be here. And, let's see. public utilities, we call it street lights, Christmas lights, and hydrants. Hydrants are the big number, and you probably all know how that works, that based on the revenue of the water system, a certain percentage of it is levied on the town as hydrant rental, in other words, keep the water available for fire protection. And you can see the numbers are pretty much unchanged, at least the estimates are pretty much unchanged from last year. Not a ton we can do about it, yes.
Streetlights, you folks had talked about doing an agreement with CMP?
Yeah.
That's not reflected?
No, it's not reflected. Basically, as you can see, the total expenditure on streetlights or stoplights will be coming to about $42,000. And we would get some savings out of CMP. Wouldn't have to do a thing. Wouldn't have to buy any equipment. Wouldn't have to do any of the maintenance. All gets taken care of. So I haven't followed up on that. I do have the material. It can start any old time we want.
And that would help reduce
Yes,
the cost of operating.
I just, there are other initiatives out there, and I just figured for the amount of money you'd save, we'd get into 2 or 3 more levels of bureaucracy or administrative cost. I like the single phone call, and that's my inclination has been to go with CMP, even though there'll be other towns around here who will say it's way better to do whatever. And again, I just haven't had time to chase all that down, but it's not off the table.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, before you were here, I think the Conservation Committee put together a report that they gave to the last town manager about eliminating a sizable number of streetlights in the
I've heard about
town,
that. I've heard about that.
which would have saved money, and that they had some, I guess, environmental reason for doing that. And supposedly nothing ever came of it. Is that something that is worth looking at again?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you reminded me. I do know it's out there. I just haven't seen the numbers. Maybe okay. I'll follow up and see what I can find in the short term, because I'm all short term now. Okay, so let's see. Public utilities we've done. Public works, obviously, we've obtained here. I'll be combining public works and transfer station in the same presentation. Hopefully get them all done next meeting. Retiree health insurance is as you know, there's a separate fund for that, and it's just calculated on who's retired and what benefits they need, and it's calculated by it's calculated outside my expertise.
Retiree home.
It's under the municipal insurance, the second page. It doesn't have its own thing. Mine is somewhere.
For new hire.
Insurance, municipal insurance, second page.
Oh, for retired.
Yeah.
I can explain that in more detail later. Didn't think I'd get down this far.
So that's the list of who still qualifies.
Yeah. And it's just a matter of doing the calculation based on the cost, and it is separately funded. Okay, 127 would be collections budget, which is almost unchanged. Last year, just getting right to the bottom. 27,162 was last year, the year we're in, and this year is 27,362, which is almost identical. So we want to talk about that sometime. That's what we put in, basically same as last year. Okay. Seniors. Senior center. Last year, if you look on the far left column, the budget, you see the total was 11,382 in 19. This year it's 14,397, and next year it's almost identical, 14,466. There was an increase in what the cook was being paid. So basically it's unchanged. It's unchanged from the current year. So, yeah.
Just an advertisement. Even whether you're a senior or not, those in public suffers, and they're well worth what you pay for that ticket.
What day is that, Wednesday?
The second one.
First and third Wednesday.
First and third Wednesday.
I've been invited more than once, I just haven't done it. It's a lunch, right?
It's in summer.
You sure?
So when will we be getting shown the revenues for each of these departments? That will be separate?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I wanted to get through all of it.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
working, comparing
Yeah.
pure operations,
Yep.
not. Okay, and then, so senior center, now we have shellfish. That's almost exactly the same as last year. You'll notice budget for 2020 was 6,003. Budget for going forward is 106,000. That's Department 130. So everybody's looked at that. Transfer station obviously will be waiting until the next meeting. Wastewater also. Waterfront, we're talking about additional revenues and some additional work. So that isn't, that wouldn't be productive to spend any particular time on that right now. And so, and that's, then we have the Tim's comprehensive plan and for 2012.
Will you be the moderator? You come be the moderator then.
So,
That's all we need is like an objective moderator.
yeah, moderating is fine.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some good, bad, and ugly. Anyway, that's better than I expected. We'll run through this. Yes, we've got the big departments, and for February 13, we're talking, probably spend 20 minutes on each of them: wastewater, public works, and transfer station, EMS, and possibly the police department. As a budget committee, you've already met with these departments, so the introductory phase doesn't have to take very long, and then I'll highlight what I see, they add whatever they think on this end. Generally speaking, we're pretty much on the same page with a few exceptions. Yes.
I had a question, for wastewater, you've given us a list of all these capital improvement
Yes, indeed.
plans, like
A mile long.
a couple $100,000 worth of them. And he said if it wasn't included in his budget, if it wasn't allowed to be his capital improvement, he was gonna try to put it in his budget. Are those
Oh,
relatively
that's
reflected in?
definitely a topic.
Okay,
That's definitely a
no
topic.
worries, I just wanted to.
Yeah, it's one of the, yes, sir.
So John, it appears that you're being fairly conservative in this overall process, is that? Wouldn't you agree? Only because when you go through this and look at the individual line items, there's a lot of zero year-to-date
Yes.
being spent, and yet there's a budget item for that line item. I'm assuming there's a fair amount of money available in.
Yeah, it's in bits and pieces. There are a few big numbers, but a lot of it is, do you bother reducing from 500 to 300? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
But it can be, or it is very unpredictable, certain lines like legal. That can blow the budget up. That's why I like contingency.
Yeah.
I'm not used to small contingencies. Because stuff happens,
Yeah.
and repairs, vehicles. If we get the new vehicles we've been talking about, the repair line goes down. We've had, not to over dramatize, but we've had some of our emergency services trucks hauled back to the garage because they break down.
Sure.
And on the positive note, we've got a terrific mechanic up in Hull. He changes tires, does this, does that, and anything short of a full-scale garage, he can pretty much get it done. So that's been a huge benefit. Now, on the other side, I just assume not have him spend his time on something like that. I do like the fact that we avoid a lot of serious repair bills. We don't have to haul something up to Augusta or something relatively routine. And in the past, we've had mixed experience with mechanics, but right now we've got an excellent one. Long maybe stay. So, did that answer your question? No.
Yeah, so when we go through this process, is there gonna be an edict at the end that says we have to go back and say,
Oh,
we
yeah.
gotta reduce the budget by 5% here, or overall, or
Yeah, we're still moving
a lot of
some
moving
lines
parts?
within some of the budgets,
Yeah.
and some of the bigger items haven't come up yet.
Yeah,
So if they don't fly, then it goes one way. If they do fly, it goes another way. And then we focus department by department on revenues. Now, some departments have almost no revenues, other departments have good revenues, other departments
right.
don't. And, I mean, you all know, you've all talked enough, you know which ones they are. I'm not going to show my hand even though everybody sees it. Yes.
I just wanted to share this with everyone. I am still hopeful that we'll be able to talk about a 5-year plan at some point in time, but I looked back because I wanted to get a sense of where we are now, and I just thought that this might be instructive for everyone. It was certainly instructive for me, so
Well, we
just
actually
pass.
do have a
Just pass.
2017.
Oh, let me get a couple of those for, yeah. Thanks.
We actually do have a 2017 comprehensive plan, so it's just a matter of shifting the columns,
Right.
change the dates.
Right. One of the things, I mean, I know I haven't been here long, and unfortunately, I arrived the year just before that big tax increase. So it was a shock to the system, and that's part of the reason that I'm on the budget committee, because it was such a shock to the system. And I would hate to see it happen again. If the town had not been putting money towards reducing our taxes, right now, our mill rate would stand at 24.29.
Oh, it's over 20. It would be. I was gonna say, where did you get these mill rate numbers?
Because
I don't think
I'm
from the
pretty sure that
past,
Brunswick.
Which
Brunswick
one?
said
Oh,
27.
okay.
Down the bottom.
I went to their
was
town
over.
websites
Yeah.
today.
Oh,
Yeah.
Brunswick, I'm pretty sure said.
I
probably
thought
said-
so too,
Yeah.
but I went to their town website today, so that then, but
There's a
let's,
state
but
website.
let's,
Yeah,
can
there's
we,
some more ads
okay,
in
I'm
town.
sorry I added them then.
Yeah,
Let's
'cause
not
that's not-
concentrate on Brunswick, let's concentrate on Wiscasset.
Oh, no, I just was letting you, and just, you've heard me
I
say it.
did go
and-
to their websites, that's where I got these from, and I'm
I can send
sorry.
you a link to that state website, it's really helpful.
That only goes up to 2017 though.
Could I-
That's why I didn't include it.
Could I add that your mill rate, you can't compare always one town to another without knowing what,
The services are.
not the
Again, I'm
services,
sorry I
but
didn't.
the evaluation.
The way they assess property,
Whether it's
I agree.
Well, no, how the state assesses them too.
Right,
Yes.
but as I said, let's just focus on where we are, because when we came here, we looked at surrounding towns, and one of the things that we said was, oh, Wiscasset has really reasonable mill rate. So it was a factor in our choosing Wiscasset over some other communities. And I can't imagine that we're the only ones. And if we want to attract people, if in a few years' time we find our mill rate going up the way it has been, there may be people that look to other communities.
You're
Just
preaching to the
wanted
choir.
to share that. I know, but again, I do feel that sometimes we just focus on what's in this notebook versus where we've been coming from, and it's worth keeping it in mind.
I don't know how many budgets I've done,
Yeah, my God.
and you try your best to keep it as low as you can. And like I've said before, there's one thing none of us as selectmen want to do is raise your taxes. That's one of our main goals. But some things are beyond our control. We can look at this budget here and the selectmen say, John, 2% cut across the board, don't care how you get it, just do it. That's a decision the board has to make. Once we find out what this is gonna cost the town. I do not like taking money out of fund balance to reduce taxes, because we may need that money at some point. We don't have to go for the TIF, which we haven't had to do lately, which is important because we're paying interest. So I think that we need, again, I'm gonna go back to the economic development. This is what we need. We need to set this town in the right direction. And if we don't, all these young people growing up, they're gonna leave here because they can't afford here. And some of your elderly are gonna have to leave here because they can't afford to live here. And that's where we're at. Do we cut services? I don't know. But again, that's what the taxpayers want. They want the fire department, they want the police department. And as long as they keep saying yes, what can we do?
One of the biggest problems is I don't think we're educating the town on what it actually costs.
There are certain things that you can put, I know this discussion came up before. If I'm not, and I think I have, we went through this a while ago as far as what you can put on a warrant. There are certain items that you cannot by state law, because that is classified influencing the voter. We cannot do that. We can use our newspapers, we can use our website, we can use our YouTube to get the information out. And unless the people absorb it and understand it, that's all we can do. That's it. I'm done preaching tonight.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second. All those in favor? We're out of here.
Increase of like $500,000 in taxes is equivalent to 1/4. So, this past year,
Right.
so if we didn't put 274
Let me turn this off. These are the numbers.
but it's not engineered.
Any this is if we had never put in, this column is if we had never done it.